Weapons are the most essential tool for destroying or killing things. From the sticks and the stones to the ones that break your bones, these are your one-way key to victory. But sometimes you stumble upon some weapons which are absurd and couldn't kill shit. Originally this was supposed to be a big collaboration with lots of YouTubers, but no one bothered to show up. So we're teaming up with the Newgrounders again. Yay. What the fuck is Newgrounds? Also, this channel is a little bit too young for these types of massive collaborations, like Josh Scorcher and Yortuk did. So, Mace did some research and eventually found a group of weapons that are mostly rendered useless, or at least pretty damn weak. So, without further ado, here are the top 10 worst weapons in games, the Handicapped edition.
So to gather the rules, rule number 1, if it's OP, doesn't mean it's bad. Rule number 2, no power-ups. Power-ups are a bonus that a player can collect and give their character an advantage, such as more strength and firepower. An example is basically the mushrooms from the Mario games, where it changes Mario's or Luigi's size, and that's it. So no poison mushrooms from the Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2. Third, we're not judging weapons by the design. Fourth, only one weapon per franchise. Fifth, I have made a small list of weapons that's obviously shitty, but they won't be here due to many reasons, because everyone talked about these in all angles. Also, standard on the Illusion 2.0 tradition, the obvious one cannot be the top spot. Anyways, if you're wondering what's my exclusion list, here it is. Let's start it. Time's wasting. So I was gonna put all the Mega Man shields on this list because I thought they're all just the same as this shield right here. The Leaf Shield. Capcom has one thing they suck at. Okay, make that multiple things, but I'm talking about that one thing, which is balancing. Yes, every game may not be perfect in any shape or form, but the Leaf Shield from Mega Man 2 is so high on its list due to, let's just say this, it's the worst weapon in Mega Man. Other than the Sheepman shield, but whatever. But this shield is just a joke, because you have to sit still if you want the shield on. But if you move, boom, it's gone. But why do you call this a weapon, you may ask? Well, you can shoot it at your enemies, and that's it. But wait, there's more. All bosses are immune to this. Unless you're fighting Airman. Airman is such a pussy, isn't he?
Even though most video game weapons can shoot straight, this type of weapon does not. And I'm not just putting one weapon here, but pretty much every single arch-based weapon for games like Friday the 13th on the NES. But yes, when I say every, I mean every single bullshit arch-type weapon on the NES, specifically. The angry video game nerd pretty much loathes these weapons, for good reason. Mainly because they miss every single goddamn thing that they're trying to aim for, and typically leave you open to die. We're talking about those goddamn rocks from Friday the 13th, the sling from Bible Adventures David and Goliath, the aforementioned torch from G&G, the grenades from Predator. You get the idea. You'd probably think there's some sort of aiming mechanism for these weapons, but nope, the NES can't handle that shit. Okay, never mind. You'd be better off going on a killing spree on GoldenEye using nothing but the Klobb. At least the Klobb doesn't go on an arc.
Grenades. A nice weapon to throw at your enemies and go boom boom, but these specific ones are pretty useless. Perfect dark grenades to be exact. Now, don't get me wrong, Perfect Dark is one of my favourite N64 games out there. There's the ridiculously powerful laptop gun, the Cyclone, the Phoenix. But then there are the grenades. They pretty much act like normal grenades after a 4-second fuse, but this doesn't seem effective against AI that's so ridiculously intelligent they can spot you through the walls. Also, the way you throw them is wonky and you have to get used to it. As well as that, there's the crazy-ass function called the proximity pinball. What does that do? Bounces all over the place, that's what it does. And here's the bullshit. The proximity takes effect after 1 second. And you pretty much always get yourself killed if you're not careful. I mean, seriously. Who uses the grenades in Perfect Dark? Anyone? Oh, come on. There's got to be someone out there that uses the grenades. I myself tend to use the mines. They're way more useful than the bouncy, 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 boom, boom, bounce, boom, bang. Bang, bang!
The Halo series has a variety of weapons, and some are pretty damn useless, like the Needler. Wait, okay. There's many variations of the Needler, but we're picking Halo 2's version for good reason. The Needler from the first game was fine, and it was pretty fun to use since you got to really feel the power of the weapon, and it seemed pretty powerful for what it was. And then Halo 2 came out, and they kind of fucked it up. First of all, they nerfed it. Damage completely decreased. Second, the fire rate and needle velocity are way slower, so it's much more useless. And third, melee attacks have much lesser damage, because they use the muzzle instead of the conveniently placed spikes on top of the weapon. Yeah, there's some good features like combining all the needles into a huge explosion, and that's one thing, and dual wielding is also pretty cool. And now, it takes a whole magazine to kill one grunt. But good old Bungie made it awesome again in Halo 3, and that's pretty nice.
The Assault Rifle from the Prototype games, also known as BB guns for shapeshifters. The rifles are useful as throwing a chair at a tank. But why are you using this dinky gun where you're mostly completely immune to bullets? And you can shapeshift your arms into weapons that can destroy a tank in seconds, or the whole intersection like this. Oh yeah. Some parts of the game where you're forced to use enemy weaponry. Even the dinky BB guns. Next.
You know what's bullshit? The redress sword from Castlevania, Symphony of the M. Night Shyamalan... Wait, what? Never mind. This sword is worse than your fists, and it's a two-handed weapon. The red rust is so heavy it takes an hour to just swing the bloody thing. And it's a cursed weapon, meaning that there's a chance that Alucard will just stand there and refuse to attack. And to add insult to injury, it's one of the very first weapons you get in the game. First weapon. Horse shit. Whoever came up with that idea is a total arse-wiping arse man who wipes arse. Oh, and speaking of cursed weaponry...
This cursed weapon only has one purpose: to kill a super weak enemy and nothing else. This is the Excalibur from the Final Fantasy series, also known as the Excalibur, Excalibur, and the Caliburn. This medieval failure does only one damage. Just one. This weapon appears in 4, After Years, 5, 6, 8, 9, 11, 13, Tactics, Dissidia, Dissidia 12, All the Bravest, Record Keeper, and Explorers. Yep, the Excalibur has many variations throughout the games, and they mostly suck. In fact, almost all of them suck, because they don't have any unique features whatsoever. For instance, the Final Fantasy V variation of the Excalibur can't miss whatsoever, and could only kill a super weak enemy called the Skull Eater in just one hit for the sake of AP grinding. And when thrown at an enemy, it does 9,999 damage. Yeah, basically this shit weapon can't even kill anything when slashing, but if you throw it, it destroys absolutely everything! That makes sense!
Directly quoting a fellow YouTuber named Yote Slayer. This gun sucks. Major. Ball sack. Shotguns are anyone, including Mace's, favorite type of weapon in a video game. But how the fuck did they make this one so bad? Despite the 87 bazillion guns in there, we're picking the Flakka from Borderlands 2. Hey, we were going to choose the insanely inaccurate Wanderlust, which made the Klobb look like the bitch, or the then sought-after Evil Smasher, infamous for this. Oh, God. And of course there's TK's Wave, but no one talks about that. We chose the Flakka for a good reason. This gun may look awesome at first, but then you realize it's the worst legendary in the game. Second place going, of course, to the Invader. The Flakka shoots a sweet load of explosions, which sound great on paper, but only if your enemies are in that exploding sweet spot. The fire rate is misleading, and the reload speed makes you open for enemies to pummel you down like you came to the wrong place in New Jersey. Even so, it has been updated with an increased explosion radius since the $100,000 loot hunt contest, so this gun can be somewhat useful in narrow places or fighting against flying enemies like surveyors and racks, and sometimes huge enemies like Saturn. Also, this gun did come back in the mediocre Borderlands pre-sequel, which is a bit more useful because your enemies are jumping around on the moon.
A shitty weapon for a shitty game. What a perfect blend. Also, it upgrades into making it even more shittier. We're talking about Fester's Blaster from Fester's Quest on NES. In the game Fester's Quest, you play as Uncle Fester where you have to stop an alien invasion. Seems simple, right? Well, your starting weapon is weak as ass, but it shoots straight. And you can upgrade this by picking up the gun parts. But here's the catch. The upgrades don't shoot straight, but shoots in different patterns like the sine wave pattern or the swirly death circles pattern. But what sucks about these is you have little chance to kill them in a narrow environment, because, let's just say this, the bullet stops dead in its tracks when it touches the wall. Nothing said. But you know what's a better weapon that shoots in a pattern and is on NES? Show 'em.
The water balloons from Revolt. Basically a crappier version of the green shell from the Mario series, which also doesn't shield you when you're being bombarded with fireworks. The Necrochasm from Destiny. A great idea to evolve like a Pokemon, but its special abilities are pretty damn weak. Also, to add more shit onto this feature, the auto rifles are super nerfed. Until this got rebuffed on the Destiny 2.0 update. The Executioner from Call of Duty Black Ops 2. A revolver shotgun sounds like a pretty great idea, but everybody said it's ass due to its pitiful range and damage. The No Land Beyond from Destiny once again. Everyone pretty much hates this sniper rifle for a ton of reasons, like the bolt action being really hard to use, but like the Necrochasm, it was fixed in a patch. The prod from Worms. Literally, the only point in this weapon is to poke people. It has almost no effect whatsoever, but if you're on the edge, it works.
So, what's worse than the blaster from Fester's Quest? Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I have not even played Deus Ex. Any of them, at least. Until I played the first one. There's one particular weapon to talk about. And we're talking about the not-so-talked-about PS20. Also known as the game's equivalent to the FP45 Liberator. Now I gotta explain. The Liberator was going to be a shitty backup weapon for the US Army in 1942, costing like $2.40 each. And it's designed to be a single-shot pistol, just to steal enemy weaponry. Yeah. Enough history. This tiny little bastard does donk-a-dick. Even though it can one-hit headshot an enemy, just like the rest of the weapons do. This weapon only has one shot, and guess what? Thrown away. Yeah. And you know what's even worse? Let's try that security drone over there. And how many fucking PS20s does it take to destroy one of these? $30 PS20s are one tiny little security drone. And to add insult to injury, it's found within hidden areas. And you thought it might be some sort of secret powerful weapon or something, but nope. You get a disposable Cyberpunk FP45 Liberator, which is one shot and thrown away. Whoop-de-fucking-do. One more nail to the coffin? You can carry only one of these. Every time. There you go. What a perfect end to a handicapped list. My name is Mace the Armed Illusion, and these are my homeboys from Newgrounds, and I'll see you later.
What could possibly go wrong?